In this video, we'll be taking a look at 6 NFL games, and I'll break them all down with free winning picks so you can bet smarter and win bigger. But first, smash that subscribe button and ring the bell so you get our picks the second they drop, because when the lines move, the early birds cash in. And if you want the full winning sport picks experience, head over to wspicks.com and check out our VIP packages, or grab a free consultation with one of our professional sports consultants for the sharpest edge you'll find anywhere. That's where the real plays live. We are your bookmaker's worst nightmare. These are the games we're hammering, the ones the books can't afford you to bet. This is Winning Sport Picks. The free picks are about to drop, and they're coming in hot. Atlanta against Indianapolis starts as one of those stylistic tension points where neither side wants to blink first. Atlanta leans heavily on structure, rhythm, time possession control, and field position pressure. They're at their best when they grind drives, drag out possessions, and force opponents into uncomfortable third down situations. Indianapolis, meanwhile, thrives in chaos, quicker tempo, more horizontal spacing, and momentum swings created by field-flipping defensive sequences or special teams bursts. The psychology here sits around which team forces the other off script. If Atlanta dictates pace early, Indianapolis ends up chasing. If Indianapolis strikes first, Atlanta is pulled out of its comfort zone, and the game gets stretched into a pacing war they don't want. Both defenses can bend without breaking, which makes this one a patience test more than a fireworks show. Whoever stays truer to their identity longer usually survives these matchups, and the market tends to overreact to early scoring rather than the long-form rhythm that defines Atlanta games. Cleveland versus the Jets offers a completely different forecast, a trench-heavy, possession-weighted slugfest where every yard feels earned. The Browns want to weaponize physicality, shorten the field, and force opponents into predictable down and distance patterns. They rely on emotional momentum. When they start stacking stops, their entire game elevates. The Jets, though, are built for volatility, big plays, misdirection, misaligned defensive fronts, and sudden momentum flips, but their Achilles heel tends to be sequencing. They often produce highlight moments without sustaining drives, and that inconsistency invites Cleveland's preferred style. In a matchup like this, the psychological edge leans toward the team more comfortable winning ugly, and Cleveland is always willing to drag opponents into a low-scoring arm wrestle. Market movement typically exaggerates Jets' optimism, but the deeper view leans toward Cleveland's structure holding firm. New Orleans against Carolina becomes a battle of discipline versus improvisation. The Saints want clean, controlled possessions, stable tempo, long drives, field-tilting special teams, and minimal giveaways. They play their best football when they're dictating rather than reacting. Carolina, on the other hand, has played most of the season in urgency mode, unpredictable pace, explosive attempts, and constant gambles designed to compensate for gaps elsewhere. That blend creates games where Carolina's ceiling is higher than the public expects, but their floor can collapse quickly. New Orleans' advantage is consistency. They rarely lose because of self-inflicted chaos, but Carolina thrives specifically when the opponent tries to remain too safe. The psychology here hinges on who dictates game script early. If the Saints take a lead, they can throttle the tempo and starve Carolina of rhythm. If Carolina hits an early punch, the entire game restructures into their style, which always creates outsized swings. Buffalo versus Miami is all about momentum cycles. Buffalo often shapes its game around emotional surges, stacking quick stops with field position wins and letting 2 or 3 explosive sequences flip the contest. Their weakness is when opponents counterpunch early, forcing them into more aggressive, less patient decisions. Miami, by contrast, prefers controlled acceleration. They build rhythm through spacing, misdirection, and pace layering. They don't mind long drives, they just want to tilt defensive shape. But in matchups like this, they struggle when forced into predictable pacing, especially if Buffalo disrupts their early sequencing. Weather, crowd rhythm, and early possession success matter enormously here because both teams rely on confident stacking. This is the kind of game where the winner often controls the middle quarter, not the opening minutes, making emotional discipline the real key. Jacksonville versus Houston brings a strategic tug of war. Jacksonville's identity leans on balance, stable tempo, clean sequencing, and situational discipline. They're at their strongest when they can mix run rhythm with structured passing without being forced into one-dimensional play. Houston is more boom or bust. Explosive stretches, tempo surges, and sudden drives that flip field position. They often thrive when opponents underestimate their willingness to accelerate out of nowhere. But Houston's weakness tends to be sustaining momentum. Their best sequences come in bursts rather than long arcs. Jacksonville counters that with steadiness. They take what defenses give, accumulate small edges, and suffocate opponents over time. The psychological angle revolves around Houston's emotional volatility. If they fall behind early, their decision-making becomes risk-heavy, which plays into Jacksonville's hands. Baltimore versus Minnesota projects as a pressure-centric game where one team tries to impose structure and the other tries to break it. The Ravens want to compress the field, slow possessions, limit explosive plays, control situational downs, and mentally wear down opponents. They're exceptional at keeping games within their preferred style, regardless of score. Minnesota, however, is built to test patience. They want movement, unpredictability, rapid-fire drives, and defensive disruption, but their volatility swings both ways. When they're hot, they can force even elite defenses off rhythm. When they're cold, opponents like Baltimore crush them with field position pressure and possession advantage. The psychology becomes simple. Baltimore wants to turn this into a slow grind, while Minnesota wants a track meet. Historically, the grind tends to win these matchups. Now listen to me, those are the free picks, but the one game I am unloading on tonight, the game that's going to crush your bookie's soul, that's the VIP play of the day at WSPicks.com. This is the nuke, the hammer, the max bet, the one play I've circled, the game that will bury your bookmaker 6 feet under. When it hits, and it will, your bookie is going to need a doctor, a lawyer, and maybe even a priest. If you want to ride with me on the biggest bet of the day, get to WSPicks.com right now. Let's run the recap. Atlanta +6, over 48, Jets +2.5, under 38, Carolina -5, under 38, Miami +9, under 50, Jacksonville -1, under 37, Baltimore -4, under 48.5. This is Winning Sport Picks, where we don't just bet, we bury bookmakers. Smash that subscribe button, drop your favorite plays in the comments, and hammer that like button like you're hammering your bookie into the dirt. We're cashing, we're dominating, and tonight we're dancing on the grave of your bookmaker. Let's go!